welcome everybody. We are back with another month of this fantastic tournament series. Welcome, Cecilia, joining me again for another day of casting. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm good. I got to sleep in a little bit today, so I feel a little bit more energized than usual. So that's a good thing. What about you, Lance? How are you doing?
I definitely did not get to sleep in.
Yeah. What time is it? Can you remind us
It's
for you over there?
5:45 a.m. I've been up since nearly 4. Um, but you know what? I did this to myself. It's literally my own tournament, so I chose this time. It's but yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to get up at like 4 in the morning to open this game? I guess.
Yeah, it's a if you're gonna get up at 4 in the morning, getting up for a series of great games is not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad. We'll go with that one. Yeah, I suppose we can get right away into some of the deck lists today. We have a double header. We have for starters, BigKukuRUzina, uh, or
Well
or
said.
or as what we're gonna say because it's far easier and far shorter, Aluha.
It
Um,
will, yeah,
yeah, it's.
not forgotten.
I don't know how to shorten uh, it
Big
efficient.
cuckoo
Y-
sounds like big butt
yeah, yeah.
or something.
Alu has just a better, easier for casting purposes to not go and say like the whole thing every
Yeah,
time. But yeah, we'll and then we have Ebertron as well. So we'll get right into Ebertron's lists. I don't know if you wanted to
great.
start off or
You know, I can start with the first list here that we see the biggest one, Imposter. It's a shoop list, so that's immediately pretty fun. Going for a Nilfgaard shoop. No Redea though, but other than that, we have kind of the usual suspects in terms of golds. Obviously, shoop being a nice little addition to have here. He's pretty flexible, so it's nice having a deck like that. Of course, Nilfgaard sometimes struggles to draw their golds, and especially this type of list, you have to be pretty lucky in order to hit those top provisions there. Otherwise, you have a lot of 4P bronzes that they've gotten a little bit better for Nilfgaard, but still not something you want to draw full hand of. Other than that, it's just kind of a flexible kind of mid-rangey deck. You have your Ramon into Soldier synergy here, quite a few of them. If you manage to draw that Ramon, as well as Usurper, Brathan's Evil Eye is an interesting inclusion as well for this one. Let's see if he can actually manage to get some value.
yeah, this kind of looks like a deck that I've built pretty much every season since I had uh, a fun season back during the hidden cash days. As I kind of chased the dragon with Nilfgaard to try and recreate that
Mm-hmm.
the magic run that I had with a list like this. But I do I like Shoopguard. Shoopguard is just like kind of my cup of tea. You know, it has like
Oh,
that more mid range control. Interesting, no Redea included in this.
yeah.
Um, Going for the extra consistency in a Nero Roderick. Um, as well. Redea is a good inclusion. It offers like a good bit of control, you know, a little bit of point slamming
Yeah.
control, just a nice big body and a lock. So Redea is another good inclusion for this list, but fitting in the extra tall punish here. We got 3 tall punishes in the deck right now. So see if he's going to be able to hit that mark.
Yeah. All right. Shall we move on to Shieldwall? Also, some interesting inclusions. Looking at it at first glance, it looks kind of like well, I don't know. You immediately see Alzer, I guess. So an Alzer Shieldwall list, very spicy. Let's see how that works. So a couple of specials included here for Alzer and Siri Dash. Something we'll see if can be pulled out in this deck. Obviously, Donimir is here to help defend anything. You have your Selskirk and Sace, the classic dual units to get just good removal. Also, kind of a like mid-rangey control list going on here, kind of fitting the theme of the imposter that we saw a little bit earlier. And engine value, of course, drummers, Anna, stuff like that to hopefully put good points on the board. I like triangle within a triangle, obviously here because of Alzer as well to kind of have that synergy. So we'll see if that one gets decent value. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nice creates in that 9 provision range, which is why I like triangle as well. It's a bit of control potentially, as well as just straight value on Alzer. And I mean, you can get to, like, we see 2 sick potential creates here. Like, you create an extra Selkirk. You can have a full extra shielded duel just to kill off whatever you want. Donamir and all the other defenders also in that 9 range, so could create some defender shenanigans. And you know, there's just a lot of really juicy cards at 9 provision,
Yeah,
which
for
is kind of
sure.
ideal.
I'm actually really excited about these lists so far. Kind of, not really a meta list, but excited to see the tournament. I mean, we did see, saw in chat Wilson being mentioned. He brought some very spicy lists and actually managed to do quite well with them. So you can't go wrong with a little bit of spice, I think.
Yeah, and we'll move on to the next list real quick here as we see lined pockets. Again, could potentially be what we've seen for the past season, and now into the next season already. Even just the often banned target. You know, it kind of shares that with the Nilfgaard ball lists. Is that ban? Again, though we see Shoop here, so Nilfgaard might actually dodge ban potentially. But though again, if Alu has a lot of like tall lists, super tall punish imposter could definitely be a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But it looks like, for the most part, just pretty standard line pockets list. It looks like kind of like no nonsense line pockets. I mean, there's nothing really that stands out to me specifically on
No,
any.
it seems to be there, just like Lance said, just to kind of get the ban. But we'll see if it actually manages to go through with the Nilfgaard being still a little bit of a threat depending on Luha's list. But yeah, so very meta. It's a good deck to take if you want something to kind of hit that ban target. I mean, line pockets is a threat, so banning that isn't bad.
Yeah, I suppose we can move on to the final list, and we see the Overwhelming Hunger now taking advantage of the buff to Succubus, getting that extra point. It's quite strong now. You know, almost like a debt laugh in a way, just for that 5 provisions. So
like a mini debt laugh. Yeah. That's what it does. In general, I mean, with HOTS and all of these high provision cards, you definitely have a lot going on there in terms of points that you're capable of putting on the board. Not bad at all. Werecat's really fun. We've kind of seen him make an appearance every now and then after the changes. This type of list has been around. I've seen it a couple of times on ladder. Probably not performing that bad either, just because of the sheer points that you can get here when you draw all of those cards. So yeah, it's spicy, but it works. I think Monsters right now as a faction is in a spot where you can kind of make off meta decks with potential when it comes to something like Syndicate, or it might be a little bit more difficult to do that. But like I would say Monsters and Skellige even would have some potential for decks that can still be pretty efficient, but maybe not like the meta decks.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a little bit of the Succubus played. Succubus does impress me with its power lately, but and again, I guess I'm more biased in the games that I watched. I watched a little bit of Spicy Man Gwent play an Overwhelming Hunger list very similar to this, and it basically how it went was he kept saying how good certain cards were and how good Abaya was to play it for 5 points every game, and then he'll make it into round 3 and get Yurden. So
right.
He proceeded to not GG the Yurden deck, saying filthy Yurden player, and then continually went back into the deck builder to go and put Yurden into it. So that it was some good research and seeing how the Overwhelming Hunger goes. Get Yurden, put Yurden in the deck, feel like a degenerate, take it out, get Yurden again, put it back in. So
yeah, I seem to recall some Speci decks really, the Witcher deck also had a bit of Yurden in it. I think he's familiar with that card.
And we'll move on to BigKukuRUzina's lists here. Again, we'll call him Aluha. So you can get started on that while I get some of the background stuff going.
Alrighty, see a little bit of spice here too. So that's actually, this is really fun. We get to kind of have a spice off. Does that make any sense? We have two cooks in the kitchen and they're both cooking up some spicy stew for us to enjoy today. Earthy Ritual, let's start with this one. We have Olaf Heim combo immediately kind of catching my eye here. Veldkarl Morkvarg discard package in here, it seems, and then just some strong golds to play. Ceres, of course, being quite nice. Geralt is here, tutor out a Witcher. Let's look at the targets here. I suppose it's Gerd and Bear Witchers, which are pretty nice when you get that extra shield from Gwen to just put it on there. Neomancy for extra consistency. Totem, great prac to play, great points. Same with Ceres. I mean, if we can pull off this Olaf Heim combo, that'll be interesting. Of course, it does play into tall removal, that combo in particular. So we'll see how that works out. Veldkarl as well, you know, being pretty tall when you trigger him. So Ebertron might have some answers for those really tall cards in this list. But other than that, good points. Let's see if the discard package also pays off here.
Yeah, just discard package can often be pretty dicey, but when it works, it's just so strong. I mean, Berna coming down, like discarding double Skirm or, you know, Skirm and a Morkvarg, like it's just a lot of points. So, again, a couple different segmented packages, right? Like you have the Olaf and Heim you want to have together. You have the Berna and also the discards you want to get together. So we'll see if he's able to draw these together. And interesting to see Veldkarl again.
Yeah,
you know,
kind of like that old school.
yeah, going for more of the point slam instead of the control, because you either go like Veldkarl or Lugos to really get that value off a leader. So nice seeing a wholesome point slammer coming back again with Veldkarl.
All right, let's touch on the Shieldwall list here. We see a lot of engines. This is so great when it works. You have your Visagara, you have your Dandelion, Shawnee, Priscilla, all stuff that you kind of want to protect behind a defender. Sometimes it looks like these are pretty vulnerable to getting bled, but maybe Iluha has a way to kind of take control of the games in a tournament situation. It seems like there's a portal as well, tutoring out some of these 4 Persian cards. So you either have your Trident Infantry to, I guess, go with the Visagara. You have your sergeants, also some boost value here. You want your engines to stay alive. Really interesting cards here that we're looking at. And stays for a little bit of control. You know, you want that 10 Persian slot to be something useful. And that is Sensei's, which is quite nice to have. And Hubert and prize-winning Cow honestly stick out like the most to me. Those are super interesting.
Prize-winning Cow is my jam. I played some prize-winning Cow and Cloggers just before the competitive season started, and oh, what a juicer. Just playing for that 10 points of reach, never getting answered. Oh, just sick card. Love it.
Yeah, it's really fun. I think we're going to move on to the Mahakam Forge list. Also really spicy. We see a Johnny here looking to play a lot of these specials. Yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. We have some dwarf synergy as well here with Figgis, Munro, and Sultan. All of them are here. We don't see a Brewer, but all in all, they're just solid points to, I guess, put on the board, which is nice. You can play this Justice for good value. Hopefully as well. Hold on. What is this Justice? Yeah, for Pyrotechs. You don't want to brick it. There aren't that many. Oh, you have the dwarf berserkers as well in here, so you can't really brick it. But yeah, a lot of special synergy. Sage goes tall. Of course, that's a little bit of a threat potentially in India. Gord there for a nice finisher after you manage to play all of these specials, and quite a bit of control. We see like artifact compression, forest protectors, double rebukes, just a solid package to have, and definitely some ways that Iluha can remove threats from Ebertron's side of the board.
Yeah, a nice little again, like I said, special. You know, like the old Mahakam Forge list we saw is more of special oriented with this kind of with this Johnny in here, you know, using the leader to also like protect him, just get some initial value and then slam some specials. So we will not be taking a look at the line pockets list as we have the bans in and invites.
Right. Makes sense.
already here. So if we want to get into accepting that, we have line pockets getting banned from both players, and Ebertron to start off on red with Aloha on blue. So
I'm really excited for these games. I feel like these lists are so much fun and very creative from both players. So let's see who kind of has the spicier stew today. This will be interesting.
yeah, spicy stew. It seems like someone might be a little hungry and going for a little bit of soup action after.
Like a little bit of snack here, waiting for us to go live. But I'm still pretty hungry. Had a bit of a late breakfast today. We'll see. Maybe my stomach will start gurgling if there's enough spice on the board for me to get even hungrier. We'll see. Let's hope not, though. It's a bit distracting.
Yeah. So hopefully we're able to make it on in here. Waited a little while to accept it. This is like the latest I've... Nothing makes me more anxious than waiting to accept a tournament client match.
We'll see. We've been really... I mean, Lance has told me that tournament client was working very nicely recently.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if this waiting kind of causes it to do something else. Let's hope not.
Just gonna make sure both players are gonna get into accepting.
Yep. Might just be we're waiting for the players here. And we'll get into the games and everything will run smoothly.
I'm hoping so. Again, I'm hopefully not just getting baited because my hopes are high. Again, with us getting into every single match for the finals, and then as well as me getting into just me solo the other day was quite nice.
Nice.
Cam's getting through once again, going into the finals for April already. So he's just taken all of my money lately.
Supporting the Gems family. That's Lance's favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I found out the other day my phone actually auto corrects to Gems. It's pretty great. Okay.
All right, something's happening.
I think I'm in, from what I hear.
Yeah, I'm in. Wow. That's
yeah.
nice.
Wow, it's work. Oh, they must have done something, because like
something's happened because it's working all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. Maybe Lance donated enough hair for them to say, all right, fine.
I donated enough hair. Turns out their servers run on hair.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's
I don't quite enough.
Yeah, it's just some poor Polish guy shoveling some hair into like this furnace to keep their servers running.
All right, let's see here. Ilu is starting on blue coin with NR, which is a good choice. I mean, he wants to win this round, and he can hope to do it from blue coin. Ebertron answering with Nilfgaard, and typically Nilfgaard is definitely quite a threat for Northern Realms, just because of all the control it really has to offer. And we can see Ebertron finding his Nair Messi, finding his shoot. Like, he has to be happy about that when he's playing a shoot list.
Yeah, and shoot on red coin is absolutely terrifying. Like, you can't just go and open board TA engines and try and keep stuff alive. Like, you just, and Ramon as well. Ramon is like this. This could be a pretty threatening round one against Aloha here. So
and I'm looking at Luha's hand. I feel like he has quite a lot of cards that he doesn't really want to play this round. Like, ideally, you take this to a long round 3 and you play your engines, then the Priscilla Shawnee Dandelion. But Luha here has drawn quite a lot of those cards, so it seems like he's actually just going for it and saying he kind of has to try and threaten this round and winning this round. So he's just playing that Dandelion on board immediately to hopefully pay off, and maybe saving Priscilla Shawnee for later rounds.
Yeah, and again, playing around this shoop here, opting not to go for the stratagem onto this Dandelion. We don't see Ebertron drawing into any of the locks to potentially answer this Dandelion right now. So This is where you'd love to see like a one of assassinate as well in like these situations, to where they would have to kind of play around it.
Exactly. But Ramon is coming down. I like that play still. You know, starting to damage this a little bit. Probably the TA is going to start coming down at some point, potentially on Dandelion. But, you know, you're threatening a little bit of damage, kind of forcing Aluha to do something about it and protecting the Dandelion because it's now in Joust range, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joust being able to deal with this, you know, you're going to want to try and protect this somehow. We have Kedwini Sergeants. They can potentially come down and boost it if you don't want to use your tactical advantage. I don't know, but then again, like if the Kedwini, you know, kind of gets answered there, then like you have to use Shani this round as your charge unit. So.
All right, let's see if the T is going to come down on this Dandelion. It's a bit of a risky play if it doesn't. All right, it's going on the Aretuza Adept, kind of valuing that, as well as a leader charge. Yeah. Just, you have to kind of commit if you're going to win the round once that Ramon is on the board, because that is definitely threatening quite a few points here.
Okay, looks like Ebertron just going for this tortoise instead of going for the crossbowman to get the other one set up as well, to get the extra pings. So I wonder why he's waiting to set up this crossbowman here.
Just pinging off one of those shields, I assume, so that he can get that 2 damage down.
Oh,
is the thought here.
Yeah, both of them are shielded. Right.
And here comes the Kedwini Sergeant at 5, because Dandelion is kind of helping it survive here, and the Adept is online. So you want to use those charges immediately. I think we're going to look at a Tridem coming down here as well, having that kind of engine go off here. The Adept, the Kedwini Sergeant, the Tridem. It's going to be a lot of points, definitely, if Ebertron cannot deal with it.
Yeah, and he's going to want to threaten this Kedwini a little bit here. There isn't really a way... Oh, we see the Disco Ball Priscilla. I had to interrupt myself a little bit there. We get to see the nice Easter egg from the premium here.
She's vibing. She's ready to hit that board and play for a sick amount of points. Like, when these cards work, they're so much fun, but they are definitely difficult. But if Iluha can kind of pull through against Nilfgaard, the faction that is so famed for all of its control aspects, that would be pretty impressive to me.
Well, the one kind of interesting about like so like mid-range, does have like a good bit of control, and more so in the tall punish than anything else. But going the singleton route, you do miss out on being able to run the double Alba Armored Cavalry, so you miss out on one of those locks there, which is kind of sad, because like Van Moram Hunter outside of these round ones is a bit meh. But then again,
it's definitely a bit of a meh card. Definitely against NR, you probably want to keep it, but other than that, it's kind of looking like a hot mulligan target a lot of the time.
But yeah, now we got Ivar starting to gain some power here. He's all in his red form pretty much all the time. It's actually kind of nice. It's kind of fits the color theme of the card anyway. So
it's true. It doesn't look so bad on Ivar. It suits him. Some of the other cards, I'm not a fan of this effect, but not too bad on Ivar.
Yeah, he has Adrenaline too, so has to play it before as the 4th card in hand, so can still get some more value on this Tridem potentially if he's looking to swing it. Yeah, already playing for quite a bit of points, basically just draining this Tridem of all of his boosts.
Yep, but other than that, kind of like, what does Ebertron want to commit? I could even see like a Shoop trying to target this Kedwini Sergeant there for 4 points. Like, if that engine dies, there's, you know, there goes the end to kind of this Tridem shenanigans. But instead, Ebertron opts for the Heat Wave on the T8 Aretuza Adept.
Yeah, get some value out of this armor is pretty nice as well. This Tridem doing its best to lose some value here.
Yep. He's working hard, and pinging off the armor on the tortoise makes the Tridem even taller and even juicier for Ivar to kind of...
A great player and a good friend of mine once told me that there's a lot of random damage in the meta, and armor is... That's what makes Ramon so good, is all this random damage in the meta. It just gets so much extra value, so...
Yeah. All right, here comes Ivar.
Well,
He doesn't want to wait any longer. He's like, okay, this point swing is big enough for me to really got a head start here. And it doesn't look that bad, honestly, right now for Ebertron. Iluha, again, he has like these engines that he really doesn't want to play. Committing the Ansayas here doesn't do that much. Prize winning cow, I mean, one random ping for a soldier, and that's gone if you don't protect it.
Yeah, now you have to really start committing here. We see another leader charge come down.
It's a big commitment. It's a big commitment.
And like, it doesn't even put him that far ahead. Like, Ebertron can just still continue to play quite non-committally now as well. Because now we see Dandelion out on Sayas. Double leader charge gone from Aluha here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go for like something like Squirrel or a Diviner isn't really enough here, so you have to kind of go for that Shoop or maybe an arrow into something to keep you ahead here. It really depends if you want that. Maybe even Roddick finding. I mean, there's a couple of things you can find here. I don't know about the Roddick; it's a little bit weird. Rathan's being kind of the only card I could see you want to play here, but yeah, an arrow doesn't seem too bad. Probably what we're going to see come down next from Ebertron.
Yep, we do see a Nero start to come down. Going for the Diviner here and trying to play a little bit non-committally. And also taking advantage of the Soldier tag from the Kedwenny Sergeant here.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, and now Aluha's going to have to commit further and further here as well.
Does he just take the pass here, though? Like, Ebertron not really getting ahead with that
could.
play? He could. I guess the prize-winning cow would be something you want to gamble, but then you really risk kind of losing.
Nah.
You don't want to play anything after that, so no. Yeah, no. I think that there's going to be a pass here. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen Ebertron kind of get ahead with that in arrow play. But I mean, winning the round pretty non-committally is not bad at all. Squirrel having to come down here, though, not hitting that AA isn't.
I mean, Ramon's pretty commit. Ramon's actually disgusting in this matchup. So, I mean, not winning on even feels a little bit bad. Committing Ramon to not win on even, because here we see him drawing into Elba Armored Cavalry, and Ramon onto this lock is quite a good bit of value in this matchup, locking these engines.
Absolutely. But still, that lock is going to do some good damage in this round. Ebertron holding on to that Diviner to get through the defender once it comes down. It's quite a nice play. Like, in general, this hand looks really good for a bleed if you want to go for it.
Yeah, again, I would like. That's why I like Redea in this deck as well. You know, Redea in this situation coming down for a really nice proactive control option for the bleed too.
That is true. You definitely have limited ways of kind of opening up this bleed here, which you kind of have to do. You have to respect the engine value that Iluha could potentially get.
Has Priscilla been buffed? Like, this disco ball is, I feel like it, holy man.
Yeah, it's not going away. It's there the whole time. I don't have a disco ball on my side of the board. I can't see it in my game.
Wonder if that's they make the disco ball more common just for like the tournament client.
Oh, that would be a nice little Easter egg for sure. And I like that Iluha here. He has this portal. Like, he's kind of able to defend a bleed as well a little bit here. You have portal. Not that bad. Okay, Ebertron taking the dry pass, kind of saying it's too awkward for him to start bleeding here and hoping that he has enough control in round 3. I'm a little bit worried, though. Do you have enough control for all of these engines in round 3 when you're Ebertron? You do have your leader, though, which is quite huge, actually.
Yeah.
So getting through that defender probably being, like, the main thing. Yeah.
And we do have the Diviner in the far left, so Ebertron will be able to purify that defender, getting a little bit of create value as well. So, does have 3 locks in hand, as well as Shoop potentially, worst comes to worst, creating a lock as well.
It's definitely not bad. And drawing into the Morlahim there, in this instance, not a bad card to actually keep, though it's usually something you want to mulligan away.
There's quite a bit of...
though, drawing quite nicely here.
Yeah, Ebertron has quite a bit of assimilate in the hand. So, I mean, Shoop's going to proc that. We got, missing out on Usurper, Brothens, and Van Hamar. I mean, he does
You do
find
have
two of
double
them.
Roderick though.
Yeah, I suppose. Double Roderick. I mean, you do find all of them, I guess.
Yeah. An arrow for one and then double Roderick for the rest. So you should be able to actually find all of his guard gold here, which is pretty rare, I think, for a Shoop deck, for sure.
Yeah, so one leader charge for Aluha to be able to try and protect all of these. You gotta assume Visigoda's gonna come down and want to get a buff too, because you don't want to play that into an easy coup either. Like that, you definitely want to get buffed up out of the way.
Yeah. Starting with Portal here. I like it. You don't immediately kind of let Ebertron maybe Shoop yoink a defender here. If that would be a play then he could make here, but Ebertron can kind of set up his assimilate engines, meanwhile waiting for Iluha to start putting on those NR engines on the board.
Yeah, I like setting up the 2 damage here to get that extra removal reach threat. I would have.
Yeah.
So maybe Aluho is trying to hit one of the engines off of the portal here, hitting this Kedwenny Knight, possibly a little bit unfortunate for him here, as it doesn't set up anything really for him. It doesn't get that engine overload going.
And here's the Diviner coming down that Ebertron was sitting and holding on to for the whole time. So really nice being able to purify this Donimir, and now immediately the locks are a pretty big threat for Iluha. Of course, you have to kind of remember Iluha's engines and really consider which engines you're going to spend your locks on, because there are a couple that definitely have to go through here.
Yeah, now we'll start to see the sequencing issues with Northern Realms charges, where you have to really kind of pick and choose what you want your opponent to answer first, what you want to get down first, because being that almost all of these in hand are currently engines, you kind of want to get each one down early. So it's just about a matter of prioritizing and which you think is going to get answered and what you think's not. Yeah,
that's a really good point to make. It could definitely be awkward. We do see Iluha kind of thinking here what he wants to go for. Now, this is kind of we have 2 engines on the board right now, kind of baiting some locks. Those are not the most important ones that you do want to go ahead and deal with. So we'll see how Ebertron actually responds here and what he's gonna opt to do.
Yeah, potentially you could just leave these 2 non-threatening engines and get yet another assimilate down to really maximize the value onto this Braithens and Shoop for later. So.
Yep. I mean, you have to play that Ducal Guard at some point, so this would be a pretty nice time to kind of get it through and just say that those bronze engines just aren't threatening enough for him to lock them.
Yeah, and then there's also leader, so he's got double lock in hand, has leader, can deal with 3, possibly 4 again with that Shoop. So Shoop coming down now.
Looking for that damage, 4 damage, potentially.
Does not hit it, unfortunately.
Right.
No lock, no nothing.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame from Shoop. Low rolling here for Ebertron. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a risk you have to take with Shoop. Sometimes he doesn't really hit it. At least you do get the 4 points there on your side of the board. And, not being able to deal with these bronze engines isn't the end of the world. So it's a pretty decent Shoop turn to hopefully, roll that damage or a lock, but...
yeah,
not the worst having these 2 kind of go through.
The one thing about this line, though, is now it starts to get really awkward to play out this Ducal Guard and get him set up on the board. This was a non-threatening turn, right, for you to just be able to play the Ducal Guard out and maximize the assimilate value. Now we see Aluha starting to play down the more threatening engines that you want to deal with. So it forces you to play really reactively at that point and not really have a good chance to set up this Ducal Guard.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, this Shawnee's definitely going to get answered here. That's for sure. The question is, how will it get answered? There's a couple of ways. You have the Moorland lock, you have the Alba lock. You would have your leader as well, but I think Ebertron's kind of looking for that Visagara for his leader target, unless he makes kind of the call that, Iluha never drew that, so he can take the leader a little bit earlier, but I still think he'll hold on to it.
So what is the ideal leader target that Ebertron is looking for? I guess he's just waiting for Visigoda to potentially come down. Shani's not a bad one either, right? Because you do give her the boosted, and she does. Does she come with?
She does get a charge, but you have no way of kind of recharging her either. So that's a little bit of a shame with those. But it's a good base power. So I think he's still holding on to that Visagara, kind of thinking that it might still be in Iluha's hand. And you still have one more lock for Priscilla, which is quite nice as well.
Yeah, Ebertron's got a good amount of tools to deal with this here. But again, this Ducal Guard getting more and more sad, becoming more and more like his name suggests, Dookie.
That is true. The Ducal Guard would have been nice to come down the turn. There was like just two bronze engines kind of here. All right, and here we have another thing that Ebertron will have to answer, definitely. A little bit scary having that adept going on and 2 engines that it can proc. So I think we're going to see potentially even a lock on this adept, but then the question of how to answer Priscilla, you have to do that too. So I think the leader will end up coming on Priscilla just for this game.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's all good. It's kind of free to go off.
Well, go off, but he's getting fewer and fewer turns to be able to go off. Although Ebertron does proc it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because all of the rest of the cards in hand play a couple.
And coup, everything, yeah. But Priscilla is just a little bit too threatening to kind of have her go through, so I think Ebertron's kind of forced to just lock it once it does enter the arena.
Yeah, and we're likely to see her come down next. I mean, you don't want to stall further with Hubert.
No. And yeah, you're right. Visagara might actually get a good amount of points still with all of these procs and having the Tridem target. Another interesting thing we could have potentially seen here is like if Ebertron would have leadered the Shani there, then, or I guess you could do it this way too, that you leader that Priscilla or that Shani, and then you just go Brathon's copy whatever bronze engine you need, like either an adept if you have Shani, or for Priscilla you just copy one of these engines to kind of get points. I definitely think I like the leader coming down here a lot.
Yeah, we'll see again.
Get your own synergy there.
We see Ebertron hovering over this this Ducal Guard a little bit here.
Yeah. Oh no! Is he really gonna give Priscilla some value here?
Yeah, it looks like he's still just valuing the Visigoda here the most.
Okay. I think, like, if Visagara comes down this late, would you just kind of say it's not going to get enough procs? Like, Priscilla gives, now that she's formation, she actually gives 2 charges to any engine. So 2 charges onto this Hubert is quite big.
So you give 2 extra points waiting here, of course. Oh, you give more than 2 extra points.
A little bit more than that.
Yeah, you give 4 extra. So you give 4 extra points waiting here, and you just leader her next turn, I guess, as you go into Brothens. So
yeah, which is the same as, I mean, it was just better leadering her before, because now you're kind of forced to do that anyway. Definitely a little bit of mind games we can see here. Ebertron definitely holding on to that Visagara. Now here comes the Brathons into an engine for Priscilla to proc. And that's the thing, like leadering this Priscilla earlier would have meant this turn already. She would have been there to kind of
going
engine value already.
Going for the Arbalest here to be able to try and threaten Visigoda as well. I mean, we do still see the leader charge.
Yeah. So a lot of bleeding on the board still. Well, you can get, hold on, how many pings can you get here from your Arbalest? It'll get 2 from Priscilla.
3.
Priscilla is boosted, and Iluha cannot remove that boost from her. So you get 3 charges there. And that means you could potentially coup it, but would you want to? Probably just coup your Roderick though.
Yeah, we'll see what he decides to do here. Yeah, just goes for the Roderick. Is not really too worried about
Yeah,
Visigoda.
that makes sense. It's so late right now. Of course, we do see the value it gets with this Trident, but another thing is you kind of have to worry about Iluha playing his last card on the range throw, and if you want your usurper value, you do have to take it here. Let's see what this Trident is able to hit. If it would have hit that Priscilla once, that is a little bit away from the engine value.
But I mean, I think Ebertron kind of easily takes this here.
Yeah. And his Ducal Guard, though, a little bit of a rascal just sitting there at 5 points now. Could have been played a little bit earlier, but other than that, it did work out okay.
Yeah, and I mean, this matchup, I feel like I've played similar matchups quite a bit back when I was, like I said, every season I kind of build these shoot Nilfgaard piles, and they tend to do really well in the engine matchups, even in like the longer rounds, because you do have you do have so many efficient answers, and you force them to play so many things late. So
yeah, I mean, typically, what is this deck you have going on there? Yeah, typically Northern Realms Engines is unfavored against something like Nilfgaard with a lot of control. So it was a difficult matchup for Iluha to get through here, and I think the Q was really good by Ebertron, kind of assuming Iluha would go for that blue coin Q for NR, so it's kind of a really nice Q to kind of snipe there with your NG.
yeah, and I mean, you're gonna take that Nilfgaard deck on red every time. Taking it on blue is so risky. That's the problem with kind of like playing like a deck like that on the ladder, is that it just, you find that blue coin and then you're just like,
What do I do?
Yeah.
It's exactly. It likes to play very reactively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but looks like, oh, what the heck? Oh god, that would have been bad to put. Oh god. Okay. I went to go and try and update the score command, and before that I had pasted it so I could easily edit it quickly, and I almost pasted the stream key instead. So good thing I didn't do that.
Yikes.
Uh-oh.
All right, we're looking at another matchup. This time the coins are going to be different. So Ebertron here bringing his Shieldwall on blue coin, looking for that Siri Dash, immediately sees it in his opening hand, and of course Iluha answering here with Scoito, a little bit of control, a little bit of locks, a little bit of rebukes going on here. So definitely ways that Iluha is able to answer some of these threats that Ebertron has. But like, Ebertron hand is like so nice. Look at this. You have your Siri, you have your what's his face?
Alzer?
The Griffin Witcher as well, like on blue coins. It's really solid. So yeah, not too bad.
You have AA as well, just sitting in the hand waiting for you.
That too, definitely a good round one hand that Ebertron hits here. And a defender, all the good stuff. And Iluha, on the other hand, if he can get this Johnny to work out, he still has a lot of points and like a hand that can play very deep. So that's definitely a pro for him.
Yeah, and we see him just valuing this Syria and looking to get this this abuse down, as we do not. The only thing we see again in Iluha's deck to really deal with this is this artifact compression, and no heat wave or anything. So just kind of playing around that. So able to buff this up and protect.
We could see that Ebertron was able to like just kind of play later charge on the Seri, and probably it would go off that way too, because it would take some time for Iluha to get through it. Of course, it's doable with all those rebukes in hand, but it's just the safest way to kind of flip the coin here, play that Seri, dash and bail it. No artifact compression gets through to it, if that were to exist in Iluha's head.
And again, we still have some shield wall charges too. Like that's like this Siri never gets dealt with now, and it's just really nice coin flipping here. And you can even just, I mean, it looking pretty set to kind of get that win on even.
Oh, for sure. Here's a rebuke, getting rid of this drummer here. No engines allowed. And this Berserker is starting to ping away on the Siri. The only thing Ebertron has to kind of keep in mind here are the rebukes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. So how does Aluha eventually deal with a defender? That's something that's going to
I
be quite annoying for him.
Yeah, I don't think there is any answer here for a defender. No movement, nothing like that. So it's going to be pretty big for Ebertron. Protecting that Alzer, for example, or any other of those smaller engines, the like Anna. Not that small if she does go off, but protecting all of that can be very useful.
Yeah, I for one am just excited and like just waiting for that that triangle within a triangle create. I need to see it. I need it in my life. It's been a while since I've seen Alzer being played.
True.
God,
that is completely true.
I don't know how to feel about it though, right? Like I was back when like more create stuff was like introduced in like midwinter of Gwent. Obviously, like as a player, I'm always so upset like with create stuff. But then as a caster, I'm like, oh, I hope someone gets screwed. Like
that's so true. It feels a little bit bad because it's not fun when you play on ladder and you like get completely surprised by some crazy combos and you're like, I can't believe I just lost to Alcer, Shieldwall, or something like that. And then when you're casting, you're like, oh yes, let's see how this goes. All right, Ebertron playing out his banana boy here. He's looking to probably just boost it, maybe even with the siege support, unless he really wants it for Selkirk.
Yeah, he's just kind of playing out slow. He's like already kind of got that. Well, and also like, what else does he like? Going further for Ebertron to like totally take this round might be quite awkward for him, right? You don't want to play out this Alzer. Donamir's super impactful. On Sace is a bit expensive. I mean, if you're sure it gets you the round uneven, you could see potentially just on Sace coming out to for sure seal it, but there are some.
You definitely have to make that call. And Ebertron playing this slow kind of, means Aluha can continue playing here, and that Siri coin flip wouldn't matter so much if he still is able to take the round. I mean, again, Aluha has a really nice hand in terms of being able to play deep, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, lots of bronzes that are not super significant here. Although Johnny getting weaker and weaker, and Zoltan not being something you really want to play out too much either in this hand state. But able to play out this Dwarf Berserker, this Tempering plays for some really nice value as well with this other Berserker on the board. So
yeah, no, this is definitely nice. Let's see what Ebertron is going for here. He's going for an Anna, kind of saying that he's now in it to kind of win on even here with that engine. Maybe sticking again. It is playing a little bit into the artifact compression. We know Aluha doesn't have it, so this Anna is quite safe right now. Yeah, and playing something like Johnny here, like you'd still get some decent Johnny value, but it's coming down a little bit late as well, and it's very slow play.
When all the rebukes already kind of coming out here means this Anna gets quite safe. Again, just artifact compression really, and that's such a low tempo answer for the Anna here.
Yeah, I do like this Anna coming down here. Just like Lance kind of pointed out, the hand other than that isn't like, you don't really want to play it out other than maybe the Thunder. So having that Anna tick for you and help you get those points on the board is really nice here, because otherwise we'll have to commit some of those expensive golds, and you don't really want to do it at this point of the game.
Yeah, it looks like that's giving Ebertron the round, winning on even here, so gets to decide.
Winning on even from blue coin, usual. I mean, Kelly players know this phenomenon. Clearly, you can do it in an art too.
I mean, Siri Dash exists. You can do it just about any deck. Just draw your Siri Dash and veil it.
Draw it. Exactly. I've heard Ebertron complain about his draws when he's playing on ladder, but clearly his tournament draws aren't looking so bad. So. Yeah,
I mean the Ivar Ramon on red in the Nilfgaard match is pretty darn good too. Like it's.
I don't think he's allowed to complain anymore.
And then. All right. Very special heavy hand for Aluha here. This Johnny is gonna do quite some damage here. He's gonna be, I don't know. Is he flinging his poop? Is that what he's doing? Is that how he's damaging his enemies?
Goodness. I don't think I want to know, honestly. Let's just say he's throwing some rap god rhymes at them instead. I think that's a little bit more.
Throwing down some
Peter
lyrics.
Piper picked Prince Proximo, blah blah blah. Another thing to note here, though, is Iluha doesn't really have access to his defender, meaning Johnny can definitely get swiped off here pretty easily.
Yeah, and leader charging it against an Anseus is pretty frightening. I like this Royal Guard coming down. You can possibly just... well, I mean, there's not really Ulcer completion in this hand, which is a bit sad. Missing out on a Nero and Triangle is...
Maybe you don't even get to see your Triangle lens. Oh, no.
Oh, that would be like...
I like this Berserker here. It's pinging away. Now the question is Ebertron just like, need to draw a little bit more cards, and I want to go into a long round for maybe some... Let's give Lance this Triangle Alcer action. Or he could still... I mean, it's a decent hand. You definitely can do some damage with just being able to protect that Alcer here. Again, we know there's like really no way for Iluha to get through the defender, so once it comes down, it's going to be a threat for Iluha for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, so this is the problem. Like, you won uneven, right? You're feeling like, oh, hey, like I should really take advantage of this. I should try and get my card. I should try and push further. But like, again, not having this Ulcer completion is very sad here, because you don't want to spend out defender because you want to use it to obviously defend Ulcer. So
I mean, okay, we're going for like maybe a little bit of tempo pass then, playing out the AA, and maybe it's this artifact compression bait even. Like artifact compression would play for some points here on the reset. Other than that, you can't really deal with this tall target, and then you're free to go onto a long round. I mean, playing AA is quite committal, the second one, but it's a good tempo play because now Iluha kind of has to find these points from somewhere, meaning he has to commit some of those important cards and not really being able to catch up in one card.
Yeah, I mean it's good because artifact compression and a Nero happens to be in deck. If you're trading AA for artifact compression, I think that's probably not so ideal of a trade for sure.
You'd still get your card advantage there. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you do get the card, but I don't know.
Now Ebertron can kind of just play his non-committal cards, but that is, of course, taken away from some of that Alzer value. But you got Iluha's leader out, so you're kind of trading the AA for a leader here. I don't know about that either. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean... So, like, Peller getting through Defender is quite nice. So that becomes quite an okay card, actually. Otherwise, you have to use Anseus or Selkirk, potentially, on the Defender. So, yeah, I think the pass is fine. You keep a couple spells in hand just in case you get really, really unlucky with the draws, so you can guaranteed, get some Ulzer value. And
exactly.
Like, what are you really doing, too, if you bleed further? Like... Iluha doesn't have like the most impressive longer. I mean, you answer the Johnny, you get through the defender right now. The long round that he has is more so the dwarf berserkers from Monroe, right?
Yep, those are kind of the cards, and then tempering them all over. So he does have some engines playing for a little bit of points every turn. As long as you can protect your defender kind of from those random pings, and I guess you're pretty fine when you're Ebertron. So I do like that pass though. I guess the consideration is do you play that AA out there? I can see it in the way that it's tempo. You kind of eliminate a card that you would potentially brick in round 3. It's so annoying when you brick those knights as well, drawing to like a Kidwinny Knight in your hand with your last mulligan round 3, and then you curse yourself for doing that. But so it's a tempo, and you got out the leader there, which is also quite nice.
Yeah, and we do get to see triangle within a triangle this game. Missing out on a Neuromancy. It's a bit sad.
Is there anything you're missing though? Yeah, I guess maybe you want the Margarita lock would be quite useful there. Even the siege support for your Selkirk, although you should probably be able to hide it behind a defender here. So the Nero isn't the end of the world if you don't draw it when you're Ebertron here.
and he's got plenty of spells, so can be quite flexible with how he decides to use them as well, which is nice. But right away, just going for Defender to get that down, so he's ready to play Alzer as soon as possible.
Could have seen maybe even Pellar coming down as the first card there, so that you can immediately deal with something like Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, you give Johnny just the ping on the shield, I guess, but I mean that's not really a big deal. I think he's fine just to get Defender down right away.
Yep. Sequencing does not matter a whole lot here.
Yeah, so now we purify the Defender. We're ready to deal with this Johnny here. Pretty nice that a Thunder just kind of answers the Johnny.
Yep. And Iluha is kind of just putting out all of these engines as fast as possible, hoping that that overwhelms Ebertron a little bit. But you do have a pretty big duel on that stage, unless the stage is time to get like too tall here, which probably isn't going to happen.
Yeah, so like having these extra packs is actually pretty good for him. Again, being able to use that Thunder and not having to set up Alzer first allowed him to get that value off the Johnny, so Thunder playing for a bit more there.
Yeah, we're going to see Alzer come down here and starting to go for those specials pretty soon, and then of course Insei is countering whatever he needs to be countering later, which probably is just going to be a stage. All right, so we're going to have Munro come down from Iluha's side of the board, starting to pew everything. It does seem like it is going to hit a couple of shields for some time, which is nice for Ebertron.
Yeah, these shields are actually going to eat up some good points. They're playing for, you know, a little bit extra on these leader charges here. Going to save the other two, obviously, for Selkirk and Prince Anseus. But you can also just, like, drop the Selkirk down, and then, you can just pact and buff these up, too. So, like, you can just straight kill without even having the shield really mean much, too. So
That, too. All right. I'm excited for that triangle. I wonder what it's gonna be.
What's the coolest thing to hope for with the triangle create?
The best, wasn't it like double Selkirk like you mentioned? That would be
double
so
Selkirk
bad.
would be cool.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of difference in the decks, so Colgrim, Colgrim's kind of
9-point cards. I mean, another defender doesn't do much. It's not like Iluha is getting through here. Anytime soon, at least. Let's see, how big is this Gord? Gord's gonna be pretty big for Iluha, I guess.
I mean, George's just getting killed by he's just getting dueled. He's just getting a little bit slapped around, probably, right?
Yeah.
Only a 10 at the moment, too.
And just like the boost that Ebertron can put on here, like just, you know, holding onto that Selkirk, just putting it on the board, pulling your Isaiahs, chilling, keeping your jewels for just jeweling everything that ever hits the board. I mean, the leader uses aren't that bad because he just reboost it with Pact. He can reboost something with Triangle, and the shields are kind of eating up points from those Berserkers. And you still have one so that Inseius can jewel something like a big target from Sage. So, other than that, there aren't that many big targets to jewel. But I suppose, you know, potentially the shields pinging off is a little bit risky. But yeah, you probably want to jewel that Sage, I believe, when your Selkirk has the ping. While it still has it.
Okay, so we see a 3 and a 4 are the first two creates, again, coming down to this triangle. So you're going to want a triangle next for sure in case you get an order create. So then you're just going to Anseus for that final say.
Yep. All right. I guess it's a crushing trap coming down here. And triangle time.
All right, I gotta hurry up and open my other bracket. I'm gonna miss it.
Oh no.
Artist?
Okay,
Oh
it's
no.
artist. I mean, it's artist is a yike when you're with your is here.
I mean, it's ranged, so
Oh, it is okay.
yeah.
I thought it was
That'd be
Ebertron, whichever. I'm not that
Yeah,
familiar with artists, I have to say.
yeah. I mean, if it was ranged and he lost because of that, that'd have been hilarious. uh, and the only reason I remember artist is ranged because I I threw together
You played it?
an armor pile.
I don't think I've ever played that card. Okay.
It's like artist Skellige with a whole bunch of armor. It was the worst deck I think I've ever played.
Oh my goodness. Artist. I love that that card exists. Kind of forgot it did, but still fun.
I don't know.
Alright, we see. Yeah, sorry, go for it.
I don't know how much of I love card arts just being wasted, but you know.
I mean, fair enough. It's a fun little card. I think the game definitely has room for those super cheeky meme cards.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Artist is one of those, and I think they have to exist.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't mind it.
So what I guess I just miss is like the one thing because like I feel like memers since beta have gotten a little bit more shafted. Like there's so many like interesting and granted it's just because they had way more broken interactions, which is probably overall like obviously worse for like competitive, but like I don't know, it was fun to see some of like the memes you saw, you know, that were going on in beta. They were so varied in what you could do. It was actually
True. That is true. All right, game number 3. Now, Ebertron has to get through his overwhelming hunger deck here. Iluha queuing his Shieldwall now again on blue coin. Now, in terms of things that Ebertron can answer, he has the Heat Wave and the Doragary. Other than that, I don't believe there are that many answers to engines. So if Iluha can win this round and kind of take control of the game, you know, Ebertron's answers are kind of limited. So this might be the game where Iluha gets through this the shield wall on blue coin.
Yeah, I mean it could be pretty threatening just to jam haunt, right? And just throw on the pressure this round, and then you just go bleed hard in round 2. I guess is like what you'd potentially try to do. You go into a short round with like Plague Maiden.
Absolutely. You have the tools to do that and put pressure here in round 1, which yeah, you definitely have to respect all of those in our engines. But we'll see how good Iluha can kind of defend it here and potentially even take the round. But yeah, something like your Were Rat, I suppose, coming down. Your Harpy Egg, you can trigger some Death Wish here. Haunt, Foglets. You definitely have points.
Yeah, like it's a pretty like bronze Death Wish heavy hand, which is kind of nice again for like if you're gonna play haunt, you'd rather just proc it with bronze Death Wishes to get through it, and like Plague Maiden's your more impactful one that you want to save. Again, it plays for so much value. It's more of a probably would have been nice to see some larvas, at least one set of larva in this round, but.
And you find your own Aromancy here when you're Ebertron. You're pretty happy about that. Again, like just pretty solid draws here. I wouldn't, yeah, wouldn't be mad at those draws at all. All right, Foglet coming down. I mean, you still have some. You can still trigger that haunt if you want to, so you can kind of start here.
Yeah, Foglet very, very slow. We'll see if he decides to up the pressure a little bit, or if he just decides to, I don't know. Like, with these engines coming down from Iluha, now it's quite set up to just start getting a lot of points per turn.
Yep.
You know, he has the shield to potentially play around a Parasite. A little bit. I mean, one of these are going to get parasited, but likely the...
It's got to be the probably the Arbalest once the I think what Iluha's planning on doing is just playing that Aretuza Adept and buffing it with the TA once again. So we'll see. We did see Ebertron earlier use his Heat Wave on a TA'd kind of engine. But yeah, here comes the haunt. So he definitely is putting pressure, and I would be a little bit scared if that pressure wouldn't come down from Ebertron, because giving engines the round control is definitely scary.
Yeah, no, I like that Haunt's coming down. I would have been concerned if it didn't try to, because like then you're not really like, you just gotta do what Monsters does, right? Like you got red coin, try and abuse it, just slam the points, win on even, and then go into those short rounds like Monsters likes to do, especially in a matchup like this where you have no control.
Yeah.
And by no control, I mean not enough control. I mean, we do see Doragary and Parasite in his opening hand.
Yeah, you have some control to kind of control the most important engines. Again, we clearly saw what Ebertron kind of values in dealing with, which is something you use those on. But for now, you can just play points. Alrighty, Succubus is here. Chilling on the board. She does have the Adrenaline 3 now. For later. Alright. Thinning out the Follets here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What is Aluha gonna try and do here? He's gonna have to start committing really hard, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So probably Dandelion and Priscilla, but he's gotta want to shield this Dandelion, right? Or is he gonna want to shield Priscilla?
No, definitely the Dandelion. Now I'm wondering. I think we might even see Heatwave come down here from Ebertron, just valuing that Dandelion. I don't know again if you do want to play that Priscilla, because what do you have then with Shawnee? If you draw that, I think Priscilla is one of those cards that you're really hoping to save for round 3, and you only commit it if you really have to. You're Aluha, you really. Ideally, you don't want to do that.
You can also just save the Heat Wave too. I mean, but then again, like your Heat Wave's always locked on this defender. Do you have anything to really? You don't really have anything to like get through it.
Yeah, that's actually true. You cannot deal with the Doragary. That's a good point that I did not consider.
I don't know. Still has a chapter left to proc on this Haunt yet. It has a couple engines on the board for Ebertron. Again, saving these consumes for when this Succubus gets to... well, I mean, you need to have it in your graveyard, I guess. You can't even really do it in round 1. That's I guess, the main drawback to this card. But, like, round 2 and 3, then it's like, at Adrenaline 3, you just have a 5 provision Detlef.
Okay, and here's the Dawn Mirror, because right now it's a little bit of an awkward situation for Aluha. He doesn't have any engine to proc, so he wants to play that Visaga to be able to get that out of Dandelion value. So yeah, that kind of has to come down here. And Ebertron, then again, saying that the point gap isn't so big, he can still just play 4 points and then kind of focus on getting through that defender. But the Visaga will get a little bit of value though once it comes down on the board. Before Ebertron can actually get through to it and deal with it.
So just waiting on not eating this egg here. We're gonna possibly see like Were-Rat coming down to eat the egg and just saving Bargus for what?
Maybe something from an arrow if you really want to go for it.
Yeah, because now Aluha's gonna just try and get dominance here and gonna continue to buff up this Dandelion to try and remove this Bargus proc from you. I don't know. Would have just liked to see the eat on the Harpy egg.
Would have been a little bit of extra points here, and now that Barg is just kind of sitting there, unfortunately. But you can still lead it with the Were-Rat, just as you mentioned. Although, I don't hate the Heat Wave coming down here. It's like it still gets you ahead at this point. Why not? Just take it and then try to deal with the Visaga with the Doragary or something. And still, okay, it's gonna be a Baya coming down here from an Aramezi.
So he's not really gonna win at this point. I'm not sure. I don't know. Aluha's getting really committal though too, right? Like all the threatening engines are kind of coming out this round, so it's basically like you're controlling them. So then you're holding your Doragary and your Heatwave for the next round, and then all of a sudden you kind of do have enough control there. But, like, in terms of your points, I guess you have Plague Maiden and Morvid, and then the Succubuses. I mean, you do still have points. Crimson Curse is definitely a lot, too.
Exactly. I mean, I could definitely see like both plays. It's just like when that heat wave still gets you ahead and you can then potentially control another engine, get something really committal out of Iluha while still keeping up in points. I don't think that's bad if you can do that, but I guess after heat waving a 7-point card, you're kind of then you're gonna play a 6-point Doriger and you're gonna have enough points. Yeah, that's the question. So if you can't keep up with those, like stay ahead with those plays, then definitely I just like kind of playing for points here now, like playing where at, still getting something out of Iluha and letting him win the round. But then,
Yeah, I mean, if Luha's able just to save Priscilla and Anseus, then that's not like super terrible. Like Priscilla and Shawnee can still,
yeah,
I mean, still having some of those engines to save. Like if he just makes the call just to play out Winch here, is he able to play out the Winch?
I mean, you have the shorts right now with the prize-winning count.
Oh yeah, you have that.
So,
yep.
like Ebertron's trading the Wererat for the Winch here, which isn't.
How could I overlook the cow? I don't know how I'm overlooking the points on the cow.
Yeah, it's prize winning.
So the leader charge there is a bit.
Yeah, I mean it's just to kind of try and stay ahead here, but
does it stay ahead though? Like, so there's 9 points coming from the short.
And like in terms of Ebertron's other card, he doesn't really want to play after this. So let's see how many points is the Winch. It's like a 7 on the Visagara. And you have 10 points from the short. Like, do you have to play Anseus here?
Maybe you're just worried about that leader charge.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, if the leader charge got out the Anseus instead of the Winch, maybe it's worth it then. The leader charge seems a little bit weird, but because if Aluha does like call that bluff and plays Winch,
exactly. Like playing Winch there and trading a leader charge and your wear out for that doesn't feel great. But Iluha did end up committing the Anseus, just like Lance said. He got a bit worried there.
Yeah, and okay, so we have Erland currently in the hand. I'm assuming there's going to be a dry pass. Erland, not going to be super great going into that round 3.
Especially with your portal, if you can get those cards out, then I mean, Erland's, I guess, fine. He's all right. Dry passing, looking for the ideal hand here. Iluha still hasn't found his AA, which isn't ideal going into round 3. Yeah, you also want to be careful of this. I guess the portal can't really be bricked. You have so many 4-person targets here, so it's fine. But finding the AA is important for Iluha.
Yeah, let's see if he's able to get this Arbalest online and on board too. Arbalest can do quite a bit, removing a lot of these beasts off the board.
So far, Iluha's draws aren't looking too great here. He really wants to have the ideal round hand here and find those important cards. Well, Ebertron, again, just really finding everything. One more roll again, let's see. You can narrow into either Morvid or Duloc here.
Yeah, Duloc with some decent points, obviously creating a Chimera. When you have that Plague Maiden. What's kind of nice for Ebertron is having this order advantage to get the Plague Maiden on the board, and then you don't have to be too worried about an Arbalest pinging your stuff off, because then you could go right into, like, say, a Morvid, and then everything's kind of, like, started to get boosted up out of that range to where it starts to get a little bit harder to remove.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Iluha, unfortunately, here is kind of losing to these draws, like... Getting that AA out, having like a boosted Arbalest there is really nice. No portal either. Portal obviously could bring out some useful stuff for Iluha, like the Sergeant and Tridem, something like that. Yeah. Bit of a shame.
Quite a bronze heavy hand for sure.
Yeah. Well, Ebertron is pretty much finding everything in every single game here.
Yeah, I mean, with this Heatwave and this Doragary answering the 2 gold engines too, like, it's hard to see it going well for Iluha at this point.
Yeah, the bronze engines would kind of have to carry it. I'm not sure if they by themselves can, unless of course Ebertron would like use his lock or use his heat wave a little bit too early, maybe. But you're really hoping you can kind of pull off the Priscilla Shawnee moment here for some good points. But
I do, however, like him waiting on this Plague Maiden until it starts to get closer to this Adrenaline with the Chimera, because then you could go eat it, boom, Morvid, boost up, and then into Chimera right away when its Adrenaline's active to get that value, so he's not able to start paying off with Arbalest or paying off with, like, removing those rats. So I do like the wait and just sit with this Plague Maiden.
yeah, there is nothing really answering that. There is no lock, there is no Margarita. If Iluha really doesn't have the tools to do anything about it, so you can really hold on to it for as long as you want. Now, another annoying thing for Iluha here is that the range throw is now got Crimson Cursed, which is really annoying for all of those formation things that you kind of want to hit on that range throw, like having those boosts just instantly go off. Is not great.
It's war. Severed limbs, blood, and guts.
Yep, we see
But yeah, using the leader charge here to kind of prevent that from happening is nice. Instantly being able to remove some of that.
I like how it
vitality.
I like how it just erases it like that. Like it just disappears.
Nope.
I was wondering if there's gonna be like a different animation for that or something, but
nope. So Shawnee's out, probably getting answered here. Yep, there's the Doragary. Unfortunately, for Iluha, the Shawnee does play quite nicely around some of that Crimson Curse value, of course, but yeah. I believe Hubert probably.
all right, I'm
down here, or the Kidwini Sergeant.
I'm convinced that in the tourney client, the disco ball is just like it's been going off the whole time. Like,
that's true. I can't see the disco ball like ever on my screen though, and I'm pretty sure I'm in the tournament client too.
Yeah, finally my tournament client's actually functioning better than yours. Like, finally,
yeah.
After getting a
you have the party, additional party. I mean, it is Friday. Priscilla is excited about that.
Well, I mean, that's
in the universe. There is no pandemic. She can go have fun at the local.
They're paying me back for all of the bad functioning of the tourney client with just disco ball. Yeah, it's all worth it, right?
All worth it. Okay, and Heatwave coming down there, removing the Hubert. Ebertron obviously hoping that that is kind of the last engine there. And that the Heatwave is worth it. We do see the Kidwini Sergeant and now Priscilla also being able to get through, but obviously the annoying thing with playing in art charges is, like Lance mentioned earlier, it's the sequencing and the fact that this Priscilla will be like useful, but it won't take for that long. And gaining max value on this adept, knowing that now Ebertron doesn't really have that many ways to answer it. Down comes the Chimera. You still have the Morvid. There's a lot of beasts on the board for Ebertron to get solid value of. You still have a Consume for your Succubus, your mini Dettlaff. So there's a lot of points to be gained here from Ebertron. Not so much for Iluha. Still like a pretty good amount with this Priscilla. I really love this play where you play it melee. You get Zeal, then use like a little boost on it there with the Sergeant to instantly get the formation. Or you can just do that, I guess. There isn't that much that Iluha has to leader charge here. Maybe something on the range throw for like a bleed.
Yeah, his sequencing is kind of locked here, obviously. Has to go for the Erlin next to be able to get the order. Mm-hmm. And again, Ebertron is going and consuming the Succubus here, getting that really nice value we got the final bleed coming down as the Crimson Curse get removed.
Yep. All right, and then I guess we're gonna see the Morvid as well just come down, boost all of these beasts. There is like an impressive amount of boosts on the Kidwini Sergeant, obviously holding on to that Kidwini, what's his name? Trident Infantry. He's gonna be a little bit of a pew pew engine here, but there's a lot of points to catch up on. Let's see, how many points will Erland boost by? Okay, not that many. 4.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of specials actually in the deck right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very sad Erland.
Yeah. I had some hopes like maybe Erland will be big and mighty, but nope. Instead, this Morvid is you know, playing for a solid amount of points. We can see everything that was to be gained here. And Iluha still going through with all the pings, which is really nice. Pinging everything. Practicing his clicking skills.
I actually got a bit closer. I have to imagine if Iluha just found 1 extra gold, or like, you know, like obviously the portal, like
would be so important there. AA into the Arbalest, you could have gotten rid of some of those rats from the Plague Maiden probably instantly. So I would say the series was like a little bit unlucky for Iluha in terms of draws. I feel like a lot of those, like what in the Squirtle game, he kind of missed out on a Necromancy and Justice early on. And yeah, missing AA in this is pretty difficult for you to kind of.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it's all the, you know, the games go. Unfortunately, you miss some things here and there. I don't know. Yeah, probably could have gotten that NR through for sure.
Yeah, I think so. It would have been nice to see it get through, definitely. And I guess we missed Iluha's last deck as well. We only saw Squirtle and NR, so we didn't get to see any Skellige, which I was actually really excited about. But good job to Ebertron for managing to 3-0 here with, you know, the Spy Series 2 today.